Woohoo! We are live, Natalie West. It's so great to be talking to you tonight. How are you going?
I'm amazing, Trace. I'm very excited.
Well, I'm really excited too. So I'll just have a bit of a chat about the summit and we'll see who can pop on. And if you are happen to watch it live or you're watching it on the recording, the purpose of these little live videos that I'll be doing is to introduce you to the summit presenters that are coming up on the third annual Low Carb Lifestyle Long Weekend, which is coming up on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of August. And today we are going to meet Natalie West, who's doing an awesome talk around understanding the psychology of food, which is something that's not talked about enough, but is just so, so, so important when it comes to changing our relationship with food and having a really good one with it. So before we start, I want to say happy birthday to you for your birthday yesterday.
Thank you so much. Nifty-50, as we said before.
I know. Well, I can't believe you're 50. I'm 50 next year. You look 25. So that's really just a testament to the lifestyle, yeah?
I was just about to say, welcome to, good nutrition that literally helps you, not look your age as such.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to start with asking you, who is Natalie West? If you want to just give everybody a little snippet of who you are, and if you are watching it live, wherever you're watching it, in the Hub group, on YouTube or on LinkedIn, you're welcome to ask Natalie questions, put in any comments, let us know. Otherwise, we'll just chat like we're having a coffee, like we always do. But
Absolutely. Yeah. So hi, everybody. Welcome. So just an intro, to me and what I've done for the last 16 years. So I'm a clinical psychotherapist, but specialize in the area of self-image. So mainly poor and conflicted self-image, and nutritional psychology, really linking that gut-brain connection around mental and physical health, which from a self-image point of view is never spoken about. And again, the attachments to a negative self-image to our food psychology and where we learn that from, and how our minds and our brains and our guts all work together, because we can't separate them all. They've got to all work in tandem.
Funny that.
I know, right? It's kind of like, when we speak about the psychology of anything, most people just kind of put your head in a box, but you've actually got a body below your chin, and your gut is one of the most important tools that actually, it's like a little highway, right? It talks to your brain and your mind. So when I say brain, I actually mean the physical brain and the aspects of what neurotransmitters and all of those amazing things that we need as humans, but also to our thinking and how we learn our neural pathways. So I really teach people how to understand how their minds work, how their bodies work, how their guts work, and also to how they build negative neural pathways and how to build amazing new positive ones.
Amazing. It's awesome work that you do, Natalie. So I'd love to know, one of the things that I'm really passionate about, obviously with what I do in terms of the Hub, but just in my work, is just really helping to people to find their individual low carb. And, it's going to look slightly different for everybody. And there's no one size fits all. And, buying some sort of off-the-shelf product is probably not going to work for most people. So I'm really curious as to what your low carb looks like for you.
Yeah. So for me and anyone that I work with, again, we've got to look at the uniqueness of every single person, and also to, the attachment to food and mainly hyper processed foods and sugars, because we are, use them as comfort, and we learn that through, our, what I call our cognitive commitment phase between the age of 0 to 7. So a lot of that is laid down around our emotional connections and attachments to eating, which also then fires dopamine reactions. So we eat through our emotions instead of actually honoring them in a different way. So for me, I always, any protocol that I use, it always comes from a mental health point first, and then the physical body will follow when you actually fuel your gut and your brain correctly. So low carb for me is really just allowing people to be quite centric with protein. So high quality protein, animal-based nutrition, and any kind of low carb, whether that's, vegetables, salad, whatever it may be. But again, it's a very unique process. But I will always, stress the fact that when you eat high quality protein and really good fat sources, that you are satiating your brain and you're also satiating your body, which then allows you to understand how your body can actually be fueled correctly. But then also it calms down a lot of that chaotic firing that goes off in our head. You can't do one without the other. So I have a lot of clients who will come to me that may have been on a low carb or such carnivore way of eating, and they're like, you know what, my body feels amazing. I've reversed my type 2 diabetes, but I've still got a little rumination around my self-image, and I still talk to myself a little bit nasty. So I have both sides of the coin, right? So it's, again, letting people understand that your conscious, your unconscious mind and your self-image will still run patterns until you understand how to shift the pattern and understand really where it comes from. Yeah, but food is literally you cannot do any of that psychology work without combining food, and anything to do with low carb is the only way, I believe, that actually allows the body to get back into the actual proper way a human is meant to actually survive.
Mm-hmm. So do you think it's obviously the nutrient dense side of food is really important, but also the fact that when you're not eating food that causes inflammation and oxidation, which is really, it's not good for the brain, obviously, is it? Yeah.
No,
so for some people, can it be a matter of just taking out those foods, or is it really, you've really got to look at both sides of the coins?
You do. Like a lot of people, especially when they're presented with, a shift in their body. So if they've got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or any kind of, anxiety or depression, the first thing the mind and the body will do when you say, okay, we've got to actually start getting you onto a low carb, the mind will basically attach to all of those comfort foods that you can't have anymore. And that is also attached to one's self-image. And secondly, the tribal factor of when you grow up and what you see when people eat, especially in a family, and when you kind of step outside that familiarity with everyone, that causes disruption as well, both physically and mentally, because all of a sudden your plate and what you eat has become a community project and everyone else has an opinion. So no, that's we've got to really understand the power of every single thing that you fuel your body with is either going to cause chaos or calm or allow your body to get out of inflammation. And type 2 diabetes is one of the most common things that we've been told that, you just got to live with it. It is what it is. No, actually, that's not true. And it's the same with mental health, the connection between food and comfort and using food as a reward, that's where a lot of people get into trouble. So because you're not actually understanding the difference between, hold on, if I'm going towards something really sugary or high carb, but I feel sad, let's just look at sad. Let's not drive a pathway that will become very strong to a dopamine hit reaction from sugar, which then becomes the normal pathway. We've got to go through our emotions, but again, as kids, we don't get taught that. So, every single person would know food has always been used. Like if you cry, oh, here's a lollipop. If you fall over, here's a piece of chocolate. Don't cry, go get that. That's where we learn it, and your body also becomes physiological attached to those reactions, and then mentally as well.
I love it. We're so afraid of feeling of different emotions, and I think it's such a freeing thing when we see that we don't have to run from it anymore or fear it. And I love the work you do. It just resonates with me so much. And I'm very excited to hear how you're going to bring that into your summit talk. So can you share a snippet without giving too much away? Because obviously I want everybody to register either free or pay for it and get to, to comment and pass on questions to Natalie. So give us a little snippet.
I can. A little snippet is just around people understanding what destination addiction is. So, for example, we've used diets or exercise generally as punishment most of our lives. So we've never actually seen food as fuel. to actually drive our bodies both mentally and physically. And also too, I go through in the presentation about how negative neural pathways are developed from a very, very young age, and actually how you can actually change those neural pathways. But a lot of that is actually understanding your own attachment to food, really. And again, with a diet, I just don't like the word diet, because we've so conditioned. So once you use the word diet, if you've had that mentality or an anchor attached to that, to your physical body, not your mental health, because diets are generally driven to use food to make yourself smaller, not healthier generally. Then you end up coming off it. So you go on a diet, you come off. So that's what I call destination addiction. So it's like, well, then what? What next? What happens then? Whereas when you shift and understand what you need to eat to fuel your body for both all the neurotransmitters from your gut to send the right signals to your brain, you'll never, ever, ever, ever have to diet again, ever. And that's the most freeing thing for people.
Yeah. What a concept. And it's so possible. And I think when you first, you come across this, and anyone listening to this who isn't really well and truly embedded into the low carb space and what we're talking about will probably go, that is just so I couldn't even imagine that as being possible. But you and I are both examples of that. And many people are now, of what's possible when we get that alignment and we feed our body and brain what it needs.
Absolutely. And Trace, I think the biggest misconception is, again, when we hear from people that, we need carbohydrates, and, as a human, there is no actual essential carbohydrate that a human being needs, because, from a fuel source, ketones are the most powerful fuel that a person can operate on. But again, when we talk about low carb, people go into, again, diet, automatic restriction. So society also uses the word restriction, which I also go through with in my presentation, and how that activates problems when you all of a sudden people go, oh, you're eating quite restrictively. And it's like, actually, no, those foods weren't serving me. They're actually making me sick. So a form of shifting away from that mental attachment is actually self-respect, and learning how that is and why you need to do that.
And I think, when you say that the body has no essential requirement for carbohydrates, there's a slide I like, or a couple of slides I love showing to my clients, where you go through, okay, well, this is the function of protein, this is the function of fat, and protein and fat are just a page full of what they do to the body. Oh, and this is carbs, energy. And they're like, what? That's it? And I'm like, yeah. And did you know that through a process, our liver can make the energy we need when it needs it? Because there are some sections of the brain that might require some glucose.
Correct.
But
this is the thing. And, what I love about what I do is really educating people to, when you actually go and eat, have you ever actually thought about why you're doing what you're doing and what, amino acids you're getting from that? Because unless you actually really grab hold of that knowledge and learn about how amazing your body and your brain is, like once you actually understand what it's there to do for you, because most people feel like it's doing something to them. But the only reason it feels like it's doing something to them is because it's not being fed correctly. So, again, the power of people understanding that when you start moving away from addictive, hyper-processed foods and sugars, your whole life changes, both mentally and physically. However, you have to understand the difference between the conscious and unconscious protective neural pathways that most of the time are also attached to your value systems and your belief structures about yourself.
And that's why it's such an exciting healing journey. It's not just simply just swapping your food around. I mean, the potential of what we feel when, we do heal and we do understand all that, and we do look in those directions to find that information. It is, I say life-changing, but, people look at me and go, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but look at me. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for what's happened to me over the last 9 years and the direction I've headed in.
100%. And I guess if you ever speak to anyone that's gone from a really kind of, sad Australian diet or an American diet into a low carb and, really good quality protein and fat way of eating, ask them how they feel and if they'd ever want to go back to how they were feeling. And the answer is no.
No.
But mentally as well, we also understand that now I've always kind of questioned it for a while, but serotonin, that whole chemical imbalance in the brain. Recent study come out this week that said that that's actually not true. It's all based on false data. So eat properly, and that's where your gut makes the right serotonin for your brain, right?
Yeah,
so
amazing.
It's very powerful.
It is powerful, and you think about how your gut tells you so much. I mean, we get nervous, we feel it in our gut, and sometimes we have to go to the toilet. I mean, there is just so much connection, and the more you see it, the more you see it. And
well, the only way we can also really get back in touch with our proper human signals in relation to food, because a lot of the time we actually don't understand the difference between true hunger and boredom and eating through our emotions, and we get very lost in that. When you start to remove all of those really high sugar foods, you really start to tap into exactly how powerful your body is and why it's designed to do what it's designed to do for you.
Exactly. Well, I've got shivers. I can't wait to watch your talk, Natalie. Now, before I let you go, I'd love you to share with everybody too. You have an event called Tackling the Silence coming up in Melbourne in a few weeks that I cannot wait to go to.
Yeah, thank you.
See you and listen to you and Dr. James Muki as well. So would you like to share with everybody, particularly if you're in Melbourne, please, it's not too late to get tickets.
The amazing and beautiful Dr. James Muki and I are speaking at an event in Creative Cues in South Melbourne on the August the 12th. James will be talking about the power of sugar and blindness and type 2 diabetes. It's an amazing talk. We did it in Sydney. And I'll actually be going through self-image and nutritional psychology and how we become attached to food, and also too how that also affects you both professionally and personally, because a lot of people actually don't realize that actually is quite a powerful tool to increase your actual energy in leadership and at work, and it's not just about your personal life either. So that's what I'm going to be talking about.
So if people Google Tackling the Silence, will something come up? Or
so it's www.tacklingthesilence.com. And if you just scroll down, you'll see a beautiful photo of James. It'll say book here, and you can book a ticket there. So we've got only a few tables left. So if there's any corporates out there that are interested, there's tables of 8. And then we've got single tickets as well. So come along and enjoy that. It's a lunch and learn. So it's going to be a lot of information, but it's a very educational talk. So you're going to learn a lot. You're going to leave with a lot of information.
And a lot of awesome connections as well. So really looking forward to that. And thank you so much, not only for coming and talking to us today and sharing your incredible knowledge, but just putting together your summit presentation that I can't wait to watch. And there is just so much need for what you share, Natalie, and I just love it so much. So thank you so much.
No, thanks again. I'm so grateful to be involved again. I just we love what we do, Trace, and it's just your dreams to help as many people as you can. I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Help people help themselves. That's what it's all about. So thanks, Nat.
Thank you.
Bye.